Hello and welcome to a game of Ice and Fire. When last we left off, Martin Skrel had been sent to the island of Arlen to negotiate a trade deal with Lord Camren Tyde for lumber to build a mine. After a short voyage, the first of Martin's life, he and his escort arrived at the dilapidated Silver Moon Harbor, where they were met by Lazoros Drennatis, an advisor to Lord Tyde. Lazoros led them to Tyde Hall and introduced them to Lord Camren and his court. A night of food and drink and merriment was followed by a morning of solemnity when Lord Camren took the group to the graves of his wife and 3 sons. Heated negotiations began when Lord Camren leveled the blame for their deaths at Lord Baylor Skrel, young Martin's father, and demanded an exorbitant amount of gold for his lumber. With the knowledge that Thali and Radava had been able to glean from their tour of the hall and their interaction with some guards, Martin was able to see that Lazoros was the only one truly driving the mismanagement of the island and encouraging Lord Camren's desire to hold the Skrels accountable for his misfortune. Martin used this information to drive a wedge between the Lord and his advisor, ultimately getting Lazoros thrown out of his rooms in disgrace. The ever-flatulent, destined boatwright, Lord Camren's steward, brought the news that the Lord had also agreed to their proposal for lumber, with a warning that Lazoros had money in many pockets and to watch over their shoulders. Alright, and with that we'll bring everybody back in, and just kind of real quick to go over the details of the agreement and kind of the ramifications, just so that you are all aware. You agreed to get the lumber, to build the mine, have it all transported to Skrel Island so that it can be used there for 850 gold pieces over the course of the next several years, which is 150 gold less than Lord Baylor suggested be your limit, so that was good. This will cut the time that it takes to build that mine down by 10 months. So that will reduce the time down to 2 years and 2 months. So
I'll be dead by then, so it's all good.
I was gonna say.
yeah, well, we'll see.
Almost undid my roll.
Yep, just about. Anyway, so with that, the deal has been struck. You have essentially a verbal agreement. The papers are being drawn up by the Lord and the Steward, while Lazoros is getting tossed out of his apartments, and his stuff is being ransacked. The let's see. You all now have a total of 21 experience, which is not enough yet to get a new rank in any of your abilities. It is enough to get 2 bonus dice in a specialty, or to split up between 2 different specialties, so should you so wish. That'll leave you with 1 experience point left over. And as a group, you also have a glory point that can be invested in a resource for your house or spent in-game to grant bonus dice on tests, that sort of thing. To get enough experience to gain a rank, you'd need another 9. To gain a new destiny point, you'd need to reach a total of 50, so 29 more from where you're at right now. Any questions about any of that before we pick things back up?
Area 1.
I don't know why you just won't give us more experience.
Because we have
We're
to
not-
earn it, Josh. God,
you gotta earn
doesn't
it.
mean you don't earn it.
No such thing as a free experience point.
Tends to fix.
Tends to fix. Yeah.
Okay, well, if everyone is everyone is good to go, then we will pick right back up in the single room that you all are in with Sir Darren Forloren and Nicholas.
Sir Darren, you talking about Sir Darren Fartloren?
Different person than the farting person.
Damn it!
But,
I was so good.
That would have
so ready.
been good. Yeah.
It would have been good. It would have been good. It
So
wasn't, but
upset.
it would have been.
That's old Destin Boatwright.
Destin,
Destin-
right?
Destin-
You didn't
Destin
even
Fartwright.
give-
He's the fart lord.
Destin Fartwright.
So mad.
It was right there. It was right there. You were so.
Hey, let's
Close.
retcon. Can we start back at the beginning of this? This whole
Take it
deal?
again.
Take
Yeah,
it.
let's
hey,
take it again from the
Can I
top.
take it? Can I take it again, please?
We'll change this character around.
Can I take it again, please?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, you forgot.
Um,
You forgot it was Destin Fartwright.
Yeah.
I'm
You just
honestly so
You
upset.
had your farts out of order.
It's okay. It's all right.
Okay, so
Making
you guys
notes.
are all in the room together. Destin Boatwright has just left after explaining the details of the agreement and letting you know that the Lord will be preparing for dinner this evening once he cools off a little bit. So, what would you guys like to do?
Is Nicholas with us?
Nicholas is there, yes.
Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn to Nicholas. Nicholas, if you would please dispatch a raven to my father. Make him aware of the situation, how much the lumber will cost, and also. No, it's important. Please do let him know of the fact that I think we've made an enemy of Lazoros Drennatis, and well, a well-funded man is a dangerous man.
Certainly, my lord. I will get all of those details written up right away. The dispatch of this will leave us with 2 ravens that we are able to use. I will get this drawn up. It should only take about a day or so to reach Skrel Castle, so this news should arrive very quickly. And he goes about getting his writing utensils and going ahead and drawing up this to whatever specifications. It sounds like you want Lazoros mentioned and the details of the lumber agreement. So, okay, yeah, cool. Nicholas writes up real quick a very small scroll and tightly wraps it. Has some gray wax that he has brought with him, and if you have your signet ring. Did you have a signet ring before? I can't remember if you... You do? Okay. Then you may use that to set the wax with the gray swallow of your house on this wax and seal it for one of the 3 ravens that you guys brought with you. And all right, cool. Well, that note is sent off, and it waits to be seen what will happen. With that done, you have an afternoon to do with as you wish before, preparations, like I said, are being made for dinner, but you finished the negotiations kind of in the early afternoon, so. I guess the real question is there anything that anyone wishes to do before dinner? If not, we'll
How
just
much
go
time
straight
would
to
you
it.
have?
A couple hours. 3-4 hours maybe.
I think Thali is gonna try and go get Brandith and Sabas and see if they'll join him for a drink Where do we go? Arlen or Silvermoon Harbor? Both of those close by?
Both of those are close by, yeah. Silvermoon Harbor is across
Silvermoon
the
Harbor's
bridge, and Arlen
the
is the
dicey
actual
one,
town.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I'll go somewhere. I think that's what Thali would do, and I think Thali will say, Radava, fancy a
Aye.
drink with Brandeth and myself and Savas.
I reckon we got time for a drink, don't we? Be a good opportunity to see a little more of the island up close and personal, so to speak, and maybe ferret out some of Lazoros' more nefarious bits without having to wait for them to come to us.
My lord, would you like to accompany us, or shall you stay behind? Settle to matters here.
Don't know if it's safe for me to travel out into the town, but no, it would be wise for me to stay put.
We'll bring you back a sack of nuts or something.
And Sir Darren is kind of standing by the door, and he says, I will watch over the young lord. I can
Kind of
stay
Good.
here.
See to it that no harm comes to him and nobody tries to kick in the door. If somebody comes through the window, toss him out first.
Of course. And he gives you a very slight smile
We are-
as you guys leave.
Strictly working reconnaissance. Strictly.
He's working reconnaissance. I'm off the clock.
No, I'm gonna drink.
Okay,
I'm gonna
so
go
I
try and find Brandeth and Savas.
Okay.
I'm gonna shoot the shit with Radava a little bit on the way out.
Yeah, Rudder will give Sir Darren a little tap on the shoulder as he walks out, and join Thali in finding our guard friends.
Is Nicholas anywhere nearby?
He's in the room that you are currently leaving. if
Okay,
you are
so
leaving.
so he was writing and all in there.
Mhm.
Okay, at some point, Thali's gonna go. Nicholas, my man, you've got to work on that title. When people just call you Nicholas, and after saying a handful of titles all in a row, makes me feel a little sad for you.
Well, I have no noble name, so I have no call to that. I mean, I'm from Old Town. I suppose I could be Nicholas of Old Town.
Thali kind of shakes his head and maybe murder someone very important or something along those lines. Very heroic.
Perhaps Nicholas of the Citadel.
Well, that I think
What's that?
somewhat implies that I became a maester, and as you see, I wear no chain, so I'm afraid I can't. I don't
Do you
think
have
it would
any
be
of your
quite
links
appropriate.
made?
I did have a few of them made, but not enough for a full chain, and I did leave. Although I will say, it is not disgraceful to leave without forging a full chain. Many lords have done it. Our own Prince Oberyn Martell has forged, I believe, 8 links of a chain before he left. So, not in disgrace. But yes, the Maester Hargreaves does like to lord his chain over me.
Maybe we call
We'll
you
see who's
Nicholas of the Mini Links.
Well, I don't currently wear any, but maybe I should fashion some if I'm going to fit that name.
Until
Give
then,
you something
we
to
call
do at
you
least.
Nicholas of not so many links.
Nicholas, I'll bring you back a sack of nuts or something.
Yeah, at Martin's statement, you see his smile kind of fall ever so slightly. And then when Thali says what he says, he kind of chuckles again to himself and resumes what he was doing.
All right, yeah. Let's go find Brandeth and Sabas.
Cool. Yeah, so you are able to run the hall freely. They are the two guardsmen that you met have quarters in the barracks here, which is attached to the hall. So you go there and inquire as to their whereabouts and their shifts. You do learn that they are mostly night shift guardsmen, and that they should be getting up any moment now for their morning. And if you wait just a short little while, they indeed appear to have recently woken, stretched. They look to be companions. They look to be friendly with one another, so they're kind of getting up and going about their morning routine together. And if you're not being, I mean, obviously you're there looking for them. So once they walk into the room and you make eye contact, they come on over and what was it? Brandeth says, "Oh, Thali, Ironhead, it is quite good to see you two again.
Hey, top of the morning.
Yes, indeed. You'll pardon if I still rubbing the sleep from my eyes. To what do we owe the pleasure?"
Well, my man Thali had an idea to go into town for a quick drink. Nothing lavish, nothing outlandish. Just take a look around and celebrate our negotiations going so swimmingly.
Oh, did they go well then, I take it?
Well, they went well for us.
That sounds like a story. You mentioned a drink. Well,
We did.
it is quite early. I think we will certainly join you, yes.
A friend of mine of House O'Kane says you can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning, so shall we?
Sabas, we don't have to start our shift for another several hours yet. What do you say? And the dark-skinned Summer Islander looks over at him and just gives a little smile and a nod. And they take you out the door to the barracks and lead you down. Did you want to go to the harbor or down to Arlen?
Which one has the better bar?
I was gonna say, why don't we have the locals show us around? You know,
Take us, wherever their favorite bar
Yeah,
to darken is. That's where we
we're
want to
gonna
go.
want to go.
All right. Well, with these two, definitely the Silver Moon Harbor has the better haunts.
I was hoping that's what you'd say.
So they will take you back over the bridge and over into and you've been through this area before, and you see, you know, a lot of the landmarks that you recognized before, the same streets. You're seeing them a lot more in the light of day now than you did when you first got here. And now that you know what you're looking for and are not escorting a young lordling, you really start to see the seediness of this location. There is a large population that looks to be very poor, and a good many groups of what look like strong men, just kind of walking around, walking the streets. Looks like a pretty rough place if you don't know how to handle yourself. It does appear that anywhere that the two guards in the orange and blue robes of the house here, House Tyde, are not greeted with any sort of hostility. So the two guys that you are with are not wearing their armor, but they are wearing the colors of the house. So As you accompany them down to the Silver Chalice, they walk in this kind of saloon-style door place on the waterfront. So you're able to see the harbor itself, ships coming in and out, mostly fishing vessels, but you see some larger trading cogs, and just a smattering of all different kinds of people from the Free Cities, from Westeros, and beyond. This is a bustling port, even though it is pretty run down as far as ports go.
My kind of place.
Once you enter the doors of the Silver Chalice, you are greeted by a room that looks nothing like the namesake. It is all just this dark wood construction, the smell of beer permeating the place with a little bit of piss undertones, like it's in there mixed in with everything, maybe a little vomit, and then
Definitely my kind of place.
over the top of all of that, just this smell of roasting meat, and we've got some fish frying in the back, and just lots of salt thrown on everything. It is just this time period's version of a diner. So
Takes a deep whiff and goes, might be my kind of place too. Kind of grins at Dolly.
yeah, and the two of them kind of usher you in, and there are a lot of people here, just kind of milling around, most with a cup already in their hands. There's food out on the table. It's, a couple hours past the normal lunch time, but it's a port city, so they're not keeping strictly to clocks. And you are able to take seats at a table in kind of the middle of the establishment, and server comes over and takes your order. What are you guys having?
At least one or two of your largest pints, and at least a couple of pieces of fish for the table.
All right, and the server is a pretty tall, balding man with broad shoulders and a bit more of a gut than he has chest muscles, but he's still pretty built. Grease stains kind of on the front of his apron. You want the light beer or the dark colored beer? We've got both.
One each. For
One
me.
each. For you, all right. What about you? And he kind of points over at Thali.
I'll have fish and bread, and I would love a pint of dark beer.
Pint of the dark beer. Excellent, excellent. Brandon, Sabas, good to see you two again. The usual. Yes, of course. Thank you, sir. He kind of turns around and walks back off to the kitchen, and you hear a couple of short yells, and you get the impression that your food is being prepared. The drinks are brought out to you in short order. The extra pints are sat on the table next to you, and Brandith and Sabas look over at the two of you and say, well, it sounds like the negotiations went
Radovan leans forward,
an unexpected way.
grabs the lighter of the ales, turns it up, drinks it in maybe 3 gulps, slaps it down. I knew that Lazoros was going to be a bastard. I didn't realize he was going to be that big a one.
And Sabas, who has lifted up his cup of just ink dark beer, and has taken just a small, sip of it so far, spits it out and starts laughing his ass off. And Brandis looks down and saying, "Oh, so you've picked up on our little difficulty around this place."
Picked it up. It was handed to us. Damn near by the man himself. He met us at the dock. It doesn't take a smart man to see what's going on here, but good lord.
He does like to control things. That would explain the commotion we heard last night. Or earlier this morning, I guess, is what it would be for you. Are his rooms being tossed? Is that what I saw?
Oh, aye. He's on the short path out, I think. I may have let slip to our lord that some of your difficulties seem to be tied to him. I got keen eyes, as they say, and well, we took that for all it was worth and ran it, and with any luck, we'll be helping you improve things around here a fair bit now that he's out, and we have a deal for some of the lumber in your woods there for a fair cost. Hopefully some of that will make its way down to these good people as well.
Yes, after Sabas recovers from spitting his drink everywhere, he takes another sip just to kind of finish what he started, and says,
Ollie winces. Just a little bit.
Looks over and says, "That would be greatly appreciated around here. It's been some time since this hall has been managed well."
Yeah, I don't doubt it. And for what it's worth, you have my sympathies for your troubles. Would that we could have done more faster, but this is a step in the right direction, I hope, for the all of us. And Radava lifts the dark-colored ale in a toast. Kind of slaps each other, or slaps people's mugs before they really get a chance to pick them up, and is down to the second one.
Yeah, both Brandith and Sabas pick up their glasses and try to meet yours in time, and take swigs of their beers respectively. Your food is brought out in short order, and it is a heavily salted fried fish meal with some dark bread, and it's not bad. You can tell that the guys that brought you here really probably just don't get great food all that often, so they go for just sustenance and probably a lot of beer and friendly attitude for this location. But it is not bad, so you're able to enjoy it for what it is. And as the food is being brought out, the same kind of surly server comes back with your food and sets it on the table. Notices the several finished drinks at the table, specifically the ones in front of Radava. You want some more?
Oh, I think I'll let these settle a moment before I grab the next round, but I appreciate you.
Okay. And he walks off.
I like him. He seems a good sort.
Yes, he's a good sport. Fairly quiet, but he keeps the place in order.
Well, someone has to even out my motor mouth, right?
So, it seems that you'll be staying at least a little while. Tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Oh, well, Thali, if you want to go first, by all means. Don't let me trample over you now.
Thali kind of chuckles a little bit. When the toast happened, Thali kind of expected it, and so instead of picking his drink up, he just kind of slid his mug in the direction of just to let it clink and then kind of let it all settle. Yeah, Thali kind of chuckles and goes, well, there's not much to know that you won't learn over the next few days, but I fancy myself a bit of a marksman, and that's about all I do is put arrows through things. No, I've been on many a ship, been to many an island, and I think that you've got a beautiful home. I think that with a little bit of motivation and a little extra money, this place will turn into a real nice place to live. Very excited for the future of the island and for the house town.
Well, I think we
Kind
can
of
all...
tries to deflect talking about himself.
Well, I think we can all agree to that. And he lifts his mug for another round of sips, whatever. And says, well, we're glad to be here. Glad to have some people change things up around here, for sure. Well, that is you, and it's Thali, right? That we are not hearing that incorrectly.
No, it's short for Bartholomew. It's just a mouthful, so
Bartholomew
Thali was much easier.
I see. Well, do you want us to call you Thali? I don't know what the proper...
Please, yes, Thali is my name. It's perfect.
All right, I think we can do that. And Radova, was it?
Aye, that's me.
Radova.
Or the Iron Hand, if you prefer. Depending on your circumstances and setting, one's much friendlier than the other, ain't it?
Well, I must say that Iron Hand doesn't exactly sound very friendly.
I earned it in the usual way. Like me man Thali here, I spent a great deal of time on ships myself. Was born in a place not so different from this. Mother was a tavern keeper, and father was absent, so I was raised by sailors and pirates, and took up the mantle myself when I was a boy.
You were a pirate?
For a time.
That is exciting.
Yeah, it was never dull. I can say that with certainty. Excitement and fear often go hand in hand, though, I find. And eventually decided that maybe it was time to settle a bit before I found myself strung up or behind irons or dead and bloated and washed up on some unknown shore. So I took an interest in the House Skrel and in their doings. They're well known around the islands here, and found myself at the side of Lord Baylor before too long. Thali and I helped with the rescue of the young lord, you know. He was himself taken by pirates at one point, ransomed off in a very novel fashion. But we recovered him with much speed and no small amount of fighting ourselves, mind you. And,
Oh, did you...
well, I've been...
How was the fighting? What, I mean, we have heard of the young lord's capture and ransom, and that the pirates were swiftly dealt with, but you're saying that you were there.
Oh, aye. Thali and I both. Well, let me tell you. So, he kind of sits forward and takes a piece of bread out of the basket and chomps down on it and chews, so he kind of gathers his thoughts and gathers himself. So there we were, sitting in the castle, waiting, sitting on our ship. And we get the word that the young lord has been returned. He's being held in a cave, you see. And the knights, brave as they are, they're not so good on the ocean now, are they? So they went to rescue him and took their ransom money and delivered it to him nice and tidy, brought the young lord back. And Then we rang the bell, and out we went. And as they were sailing off themselves with their pretty prize, we met them halfway. Well, that was unfortunate for some of them. Crashed right into them, we did. Ships slammed together, rigging, locked up, rope and hooks and swords and axes flying left and right, knives out, arrows flying. My man Thali here taken out just one by one. Before you could even blink, 3 of them had dropped, and there I was, leaping onto the other deck, throwing myself into a horde of them almost. Seemed like more and more were pouring out of the underdecks every second. Swinging left, right, and center with me iron hands. Smack one in the jaw, and 3 more would rise up. Thali would take down 2 of them, I'd smack another, and here comes some more. Over and over we clashed with them until there were only, I don't know, 14, 15 of them left, and well, they were all battered and bruised, weren't they? Most of our men were all right. Thali and I, we account for maybe 7 or 8 men ourselves, you see. But, we gave them the what for. Took those 14 back with us. Set them down, set them straight. Don't be taking young lords. Threw them in prison for a time and released them in the dead of night so no one would know. They still tell tales about those men walking in and never walking out. They're out there. You look for them, you'll see them, you'll hear them, they'll tell you. You mention House Skrel, you'll see them turn pale, turn the other way.
Yeah, as you are telling this story, you watch as the 2 of them just become more and more enthralled. You see them just stop taking sips from their drinks and just listening to this jaws start to drop. And as you wrap that up, they just, that's pretty hard to believe. But, that's quite a story. You say you captured them, and we have heard that some of them were whipped in the square. What exactly happened to them all? I've heard varying stories. You say that some survived.
Oh, they were the lot of them whipped and beaten. Of course, you can't. There are some men and some women who don't learn unless you speak a language in common, of course. And, well, some people only really speak violence now, don't they? So we had a lot of them rounded up and made examples of for anybody with like minds. And we threw them in the dungeons for a bit. And, several of them, once they had done their time and paid their due, were released quietly. Sort of told, the last cost that we're going to extract from you is your existence. No one will know that you lived. No one will remember you. And if we hear word that you're telling our tales, or you're trying to make a name for yourself again, well, we'll come round and set you right again, won't we? Well, they took our meaning quite clearly and vanished, so to speak.
Alright. Roll a persuasion test for me. I want you to ignore your flaw.
Okay. That's a 7.
7? Okay. You can tell in reading their reactions that they have heard bits and pieces of this story before, especially, probably misrepresented in some form or fashion by either travelers that have been through this port before, or from what they've heard at table with Lord Camren or Destin or Lazoros. And they're able to put the pieces together, and it appears that they believe what you're saying. They're trying to hide their incredulity, but they're pretty impressed, and you can tell that they're a little kind of giddy to be in the same company with people who have seen real action. You gather that these two people, while sturdy enough and can probably handle themselves in their own right, haven't seen any real combat. They've mostly been dealing with thieves and the common criminal, that sort of thing. So this is the story of a sea battle to win back the money of a ransomed lordling. This is exciting to them. So as time goes on, you are able to continue eating and drinking and kind of carousing with these two for the couple of hours, when you realize you probably should start making your way back, and they lead you back across the bridge back over to Tyde Hall, unless there was anything else that you wished to do while you were out. I know that was mostly a rod of a conversation. Thalia, if there was anything you wanted to...
No, I was very much just there for the drinks and to get to know these fellows a little bit.
Cool. All right. You make your way back over to the hall, and you can smell a much better meal being prepared than what you've just had. Not the way, like I said, not the way you just had was bad, but it's, this is being prepared by several of the Lord's chefs, and
there's like a spice other than salt in these, maybe.
There is a spice other than salt. Yeah, there is also pepper.
Right. Yeah.
Thali puts his entire arm around Radova and goes, "We get to eat again, my friend. This is a wonderful day. Wonderful day."
See, this is why I stopped being a pirate. Getting to eat twice a day is a luxury where I'm from.
Best. Something other than fruit.
Yeah, the two of you enter the hall with Brandith and Sabas kind of, there together at the same time. Martan, was there anything that you wanted to do kind of this afternoon while they were out?
Yes. One, what were their names again? Sabas and, is it Brandent?
Brandeth. Brandeth.
Cool. Absolutely. Shortly after they leave to have gone to do that, I look at Nicholas, who, I guess, what's he doing?
He's in the process of preparing that letter, we'll say at this point, because it'll take him some time to actually get all that stuff, written up. This will be right. I mean, it can be as early as right when Iron Hand and Thali left.
Okay. Well, I guess once he's done with the letter and I've sealed it, and does he have the ravens with him? Has he
He will need to go. They would have been moved to his quarters, which is a separate room than the one that you guys are currently in, but in easy enough reach, and he's able to release that from his window. More of an arrow slit than a window, but enough for a raven to get out.
Alright, then I guess if he left to do that, before he leaves to go do that, I ask him, Nicholas, could you return once you have dealt with that letter?
Yes, of course. I'll be back straight away. He's
Right.
only really gone for long enough to tie the message to the foot of one of the ravens and release it through the window. So, back in just a few minutes.
Okay. Then I guess after he's back, I look at him and, Nicholas, why did you leave the Citadel?
Well, I had learned the things that I wanted to learn, and I don't know what you've really considered about the Citadel's vows. But he kind of looks around the room a little bit and just tries to avoid eye contact for a second, and says, "They make you swear to be celibate, that you won't have any children, and I didn't really feel like doing that. You know."
Ah, so you chose to leave for a potential woman?
Let's just
Man.
say I didn't feel like being limited in that way, or punished for it.
What do I know? What would I know about, like, is that like the only vow that like they take, or do they take other vows and stuff, like when they like dedicate themselves to becoming a maester? Like once they've like, it's like, oh, you're a maester, we're gonna send you to a house, and by the way, you need to make these oaths.
Yeah. You would know this already. I want to say that I've even talked a little bit about this briefly in an earlier session. But in addition to the vow of celibacy that maesters take, they also swear off their own family names. So anyone who is a maester that comes from a great house or even a minor house, they leave their names behind them when they take on their chain. Because they are, in essence, they are swearing to serve the realm and not their own families. Now, you know, it could be argued, depending on which maester or archmaester or grand maester that you look at in history, as to whether or not everyone has taken that vow that seriously. Some maesters in the past have used their positions to further the houses that they came from, their family's interests. But yes, the idea is that any maester swears off their own family name. And in addition, they also swear off any potential future families as well. But other than, they swear to serve the realm, and they serve the lord, essentially, that they are assigned to, no matter if the lord of that holding changes, if there is, if somebody dies and their heir takes over, the maester continues to serve that place. If a lord is killed and somebody else is assigned to that fief, the maester will stay and serve the new lord, with the idea being that they are serving as faithfully as they would any of the previous occupants. So.
Okay. Would I know? Do I know what links he did forge at the Citadel? Like, would that be common knowledge to me?
You go ahead and make a. Let's see. I guess this would just be a standard old knowledge roll.
Okay.
Okay. He has been serving in your house long enough that you would know that he has studied and forged links for ravenry. So there is a black iron ring for ravenry that he has. He has also got a bronze ring signifying study of the stars. He has a copper ring for history. He has a yellow gold ring for the study of money and accounting. And those are... Oh, he also has a silver link for the study of medicine. Those are the links that he has.
Gotcha. Well, then I ask... Well, I guess I can understand that being your reasoning not to complete your training, but... What was that? 5 links? 5 rings?
2, 3, 4, 5. 5. Mm-hmm.
Of the 5 links that you did forge, which was the one you desired most, and which one has actually been the most use?
Of the ones that I have, I would say that the one that has certainly been the most use would be the one for accounts. So my yellow gold ring, just in helping the maester with keeping things in order for the house. The one that I was most interested in, that would be the history. I've always been fascinated by history and finding different varying accounts of some of the same events and just kind of comparing them and seeing what differences we spot and try to uncover the hidden truths, that sort of thing. Sadly, the study of history hasn't been of as much use as the study of sums.
I see. Now tell me, why the study of the stars?
Well, that is one way to track the progress of the seasons. They show us when autumn will end, when winter is on its way, when we're approaching spring and summer again. You can I also, in that, studied the varying parts of the world and their different beliefs and constellations. I have learned of varying different legends about the stars and different celestial anomaly. There are a few legends of stars and stars falling to Earth. Let's see. There's the one for Dawn, Starfall. The legend of House Dane and its founding was based on a falling star. There was an old emperor in somewhere far east in Essos that worshipped a star that had fallen to the ground. And, yes, it's just it's an extension of my love of history, I suppose.
Ah. Well, were there any links that you wished you had gotten before you departed?
Well, I think every young acolyte at the Citadel wants to forge the Valyrian steel ring that shows a mastery over the higher mysteries. But as I think you saw, Maester Hargreave has his Valyrian steel link, and sadly he knows no real magic. That was one of those, I guess, illusions that I had to kind of wake up to, realizing that magic is gone and we have to make do with what we've got. Realizing that, and that this life is all that we really have, I didn't want to waste it. I wanted to live it, if you understand.
Yes, I guess I could understand that. Well, I guess that's all for now. I believe I'll just stay to myself until dinner.
All right. Well,
Boring, but safe.
sometimes boring but safe is better. Well, I will leave you to it then. I will see you in a few hours for dinner. And you are left to your own devices. Sir Darren Forloren will stay close at hand, but quiet as he tends to be. And, time passes. The smells of dinner start to permeate the halls, and you are summoned to table in the Great Hall with the host, Lord Camren, who looks to have cooled off a little bit in a liquor of his choosing, and seems more jovial than angry at this point in time, and excited to sit down and eat some food. So, as you all are welcomed and take your seats, the members of the court sans Lazoros are here. So, Destin Boatwright is here, Sir Jared Lightfoot and Sir Byron Rock are in attendance. Thali and Ironhand, when you two enter the hall, everyone is already kind of gathering at the table. And Lord Camren looks up at the two of you and your entourage and says, "Oh yes, of course. Come, take a seat. Bring your friends too. Why not? It's been some time since they have joined us for a hearty meal. Please." And the four of you are welcomed to join the rest at the table. So, some extra space is made for Brandith and Sabas.
Radova kind of elbows Sabas. See, look at that. Things are coming up already.
And Sir Darren and Nicholas join in, and in front of you are set your preferred drink of choice, as well as a long trencher of bread that has been hollowed out and filled with a very, very thick stew of onions and herbs and spices, all
Stop
with
it, Drew. You're making me hungry.
what seems... well, I mean, that's the point of describing food.
Yeah, shove some tacos down his hobby hole.
And then there's a dark meat in there as well. You can't tell if it is just well-seasoned pork or if it is some sort of a beef. But it is very, very fragrant. And as it is set in front of you, it is hard not to dig straight in. But before anyone can begin, Lord Camren lifts his cup and looks around the room and says, "Young Lord Martin, I believe I owe you a bit of an apology. I am aware that Destin Boatwright has already told you my words, but I feel that it is important that I say that the way that we greeted you was untoward and unbecoming of a lord of my station. I have harbored a grudge against you and your family that was unjustified. You came here, you bring me liquor, you learn some of my beloved's language, and I greet you with hostility and extortion. I hope you will forgive that. Please, let us eat and learn something about each other if we can. It has been some time since I have been informed of your family. It has been difficult to hear your names for some time. I should rectify that. So, please eat, drink. But yes, Lord Martin, tell me about yourself. Tell me about your family. And you are all allowed to kind of eat and drink while Martin responds.
Gobble gobble.
Well, thank you, Lord Tyde, for your words. I would like nothing better than for us to be able to think nothing more of it. Let it be distant past that has long been forgotten. But regarding my family, I don't know that it really is all that much to tell. We, as you would figure, have ourselves languished a bit in obscurity. However, my father and mother are well enough. My sister, though at times a pain, is getting towards the age where I imagine father will be potentially looking for a suitor for her, but and that's all there is to tell. I myself don't get up too much. I am, for the most part, kept busy with studies, with Nicholas here and our own Maester Hargreave. I wish there were more to tell, but there really isn't.
Radova kind of leans over and nudges Martin with his elbow. Tell him about your excursion out to the southern side of the island and our dealing with the untoward out that way.
And at this, Brandith and Sabas kind of lean in and perk up.
Another story, my boys.
And I kind of look over at Radva, and that a bit of nastiness might not be an appropriate story while we feast.
Radova claps him on the shoulder and leans up, says, "All right, if he won't tell it, humbled as he is, I'll tell it for him."
And
so there we were.
Yeah, Brandon starts tapping his mug on the table.
There we were.
So there we were. Gathered as we were in Lord Baylor's keep. Doing our duties, being ourselves, keeping an eye on things, keeping things running nice and smooth. The young lord knows deep in his studies. When the call comes out, there are pirates on our southern shores. They're attacking our people. They're taking things not meant for them, causing strife. Well, we can't ignore that, now can we? So, the Lord gathers a few of us up and says, I want you to go protect my people. Keep us safe, and get rid of this bit of nastiness, as my Lord says. Now, my young lord here, he's not one for glory in the same way that the rest of us are. He's level-headed, a humble lad, very smart. Smarter than Radova by a shot. But the call to adventure is a hard one to ignore now, ain't it? And he looks at Brandith and Sabas, kind of, knowingly winks at them. So he asks his father, may I go with them? May I see what it takes to be a lord? To know what it's like to live this life? Now, it takes some convincing. The Lord Skrel does not want to let his son go, but we promise to keep him safe, of course. How could we do anything less? Finally, he relents and lets us go. And a riding we go, across vast plains and over many a hill. There's not a lot on Skrel Island, but the hills we have are rolling and lovely, if I might add. We arrive in no time at all. Day and a half, 2 days maybe. And there we see them across the way. Pirates for sure. And a slew of bodies slung across the beach. All their belongings gathered up, looking like they're getting ready to hightail or sail out or sell some things and go into hiding. Oh, we can't have that now, can we? So we advance on them. I run out, and I crest the hill, and Thully's arrow comes over my shoulder. Takes out the first one before he can see me.
Thully pulls out his lute.
And one of them, of course, hears the thump of an arrow against his mate's skull. Turns around, sees me in his face. Dead before I can touch him. Thully got him again. Bastard.
Plays the chord.
We take out 4 of them like this. Thully getting 3 of them. I jump on the last man. Punch him into the ground. Not much there on Skrel Island, as I said. And here comes Sir Knight on his horse, riding up behind me, crests the hill, leaps into the middle of them, chases one of them down the beach. The others turn, start scrambling like mad. Thully comes up. Arrows flying left, right, and center. Another 3 men down before I can blink. Lord Martan is overseeing all of this from his own horse, seeing what it's like, seeing how it's done, of course. We jump down onto the beach. I've got, 6 or 7 of them, running at me like madmen, swinging at me. One of them gets me right here, he does. Hurt, too. Smack him, send him flying into the water. Thully knocks him dead. And Martan himself, I believe, got a little bit of a mace swing in, whacked one of them real good on the head before Thully got him too. We take them all down. Quick as you please. Leave one left to ask what the hell they think they were doing. Why would you pull this on Skrel Island of all places? Why would you attack innocent people and take their things? Well, he didn't have much words for us, as that type rarely do, of course. And young Lord Martan makes the difficult decision of a leader to send him to the wall or to give him death there, good and proper, with his mates. He lets him choose. And our man, well, he doesn't think he'll make it. Doesn't think he'll make the trip to the wall, but wants to try. Martan. The young lord agrees with him. He will not make it to the wall. He is bleeding, one leg shattered, barely keeping his breath there on the beach. And my lord orders mercy for him and asks me to send him on his way. And I oblige. Give him something quick and clean, so that he can move on, shuffle off the mortal coil. That burden, that heavy weight of lordship now rests on my young lord's shoulders, much like a link in a maester's chain almost. He'll go a long way, our lord. Humble though he is. He's learning. So please, keep kindly around him.
Yeah, at that, everyone in the room has kind of gone quiet to hear this story. And this has only really very recently just taken place. So news of this has not widely spread yet.
For one.
So this is further excitement to what the rest of these guys have heard. Some of them over lunch, some of them just in passing over the past day or so. And Lord Camren, you notice, is also kind of listening and with bated breath. And at the end of the story, as he's kind of, still spooning some of the soup into his mouth, and some of the grease running down his chin, he kind of shakes his head. All this talk of fighting really makes me want to kill something. Thali, I know you're good with a longbow. How good are you with a hunting bow?
I know my way around a bow, my lord.
Well, I think Ironhand has talked you up enough. I wish to see this bow of yours in action. What do you guys say we take a hunt down to the Otter Wood, let you see it for yourselves? Maybe we can hunt down some deer. I know that the woods are fairly well stocked.
I'd say that sounds like an excellent way to ensure that our two houses remain well friendly. Wouldn't you agree, my lord?
I kind of look over at Radava and then lock eyes with Thali. Yes, Thali, perhaps it would be best if you prove to everyone how good you are with a bow. After Radava talked you up with quite a bit of embellishment. Nasty business, though most of that story was true.
And at that, Lord Camren smashes his cup on the table. You see little bits of foam erupt from the rim of his mug, and he says, "All right, it's settled. We set out on the morrow. I will have palfreys drawn up for everyone. I believe we will probably all be wanting hunting bows and boar spears. I take it you don't have your own?"
Oh, goodness, no.
All right, boar spears and hunting bows all around. Destin, you shall see to it, right? And Destin is kind of wide-eyed, and you hear a very high-pitched, very faint squeak. Not 100% sure what it was, but he says, yes, of course, I can have the horses prepared. You want to set out in the morning, I suppose? Lord Camren says, yes, of course. We will set out on the morrow, and hopefully we will be at the Otterwood by nightfall and can get our eyes on some tracks the following day or so. And unless you have anything else you wish to do, dinner is effectively over at this point. You are able to go back to your rooms. Is there anything else that you wanted to do over dinner?
I'd say I've done enough.
Yeah, that sounds great.
No. But I do. Like a word with everyone in my retinue once dinner is over.
Easy enough.
Of course.
Yeah, I think at this point you've kind of made a habit of all meeting in the same room after whatever transpires in the hall transpires. So sure, yeah, easy enough to get everyone back in there.
Debrief.
Well, that could have gone more poorly. And I look right at Radova. Like, I understand wanting to gloat a bit and have a few embellishments, but we're gonna go out there, and Folly might look amazing. I'm going to look like as ineffectual with a bow as you know that I am. Why did you do that?
Oh, well, this is less about making you look good and making you look like a leader, so to speak. If your man Thali here can keep up with my embellishments, then everyone will look a little different at you for having his ear and his arm at your side, and it's a little bit to make the Lord Tyde like you more. He's had it rough, and engaging in something that brings him joy will make him more amenable to listen to you as well, I should hope.
Well, yes, perhaps you're right.
I don't know many things, but men like Lord Tyde I know quite well.
This is dangerous, though.
Well, a bit. But, truth be told, as long as we're on this island, there's nowhere that isn't at least a little bit dangerous till we know where our man Lazoros has run off to, or who's in his pocket. At least this way we're sort of in, well, not advantageous territory, but there are no sneaky passages or traps set for us out in the woods, I should hope, or at least fewer than there might be in a castle one's been living in for 10 years.
All right, I'll go. However, you should know that if something befalls me, you will regret it if you're not dead.
Oh, I have no illusions to the contrary about that.
Othello just says, "This is how lords do business. It's less about the animal that you may or may not shoot, and more about the fact that you're breathing in crisp morning air and setting out with a man of similar stature to engage in a little competition. Mine.
Oh, yes. Friendly
Nicholas.
competition. It's always so friendly.
Nicholas pipes up in the back of the room and says, "Seven hells, I'm going, and I can barely hit the broadside of a barn with a bow and arrow."
Oh, don't get me wrong, I'm about as useless with a bow as the rest of you. We're all riding on Thali's abilities here.
Yes, we are. So perhaps, Folly, you should get a good night's rest.
I'll make you gentlemen proud.
You better, otherwise they're not going to take us drinking anymore.
Thali kind of fake gasps.
Either that or we'll have to pay for all of it.
Thali fake gasps again.
All right, you are all able to go to your beds and have a night's rest. If you wish to set watches, we can do that. You I think had a setup before where you had some people standing watch over
We
the
did
Lord's
have a
rooms.
schedule, didn't we?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't remember exactly what it was, but
I think I was first watch, useless though I may be. I think that was my. I think that was my roll.
Yeah. So then that would leave 2 watches, one for probably Iron Hand and one for Serdaren.
Iron Hand will take second watch.
Okay. All right. So first watch goes to Thali. Go ahead and give me a awareness notice test for me.
Okay. Ten.
10. Okay, that's pretty good. Yeah, for the first 4 hours that you are set up kind of out in the thin hallway that goes past all of your rooms, the guards tonight, you recognize 2 of them. They are, after having drinks and dinner with the group, have kind of drunkenly resumed their job.
Amateurs.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, they are kind of amateurs.
Not all of us have been drinking on a pirate ship for 10 years.
Mm-hmm. But as they're making their rounds, they kind of acknowledge you politely while resuming their jobs as appropriately as they can. The overall tension in the hall seems to have lessened quite a bit over this most recent day, and that change is palpable even at night, with just the guards passing by and there is a little bit of kind of bustle here and there, mostly about the expulsion of Lazoros and, the subsequent ransacking of his rooms. But the hallway and you and the door that you're standing in front of remains undisturbed for your watch. You are able to get Iron Hand for his.
Yeah. At the end of my watch, I want to go and check out Lazoros' room.
Okay.
If I can.
Yeah. Are you attempting to do so sneakily, or are you just kind of walking?
I'm gonna go wake Radava up, tell him that it's time for his watch. And then I'm gonna pop down there, just try and walk right in.
Okay.
Not trying to be sneaky, just trying to walk in.
All right.
And if I see like Savas or Brandith there, I'm just gonna kind of just like and walk in. Like I'm not trying to be sneaky about it at all. Just be like.
At this point in the night, it is about 2 in the morning.
Sure.
There are not many people awake. It's really just guards. So if you wake up Radava and walk him down to the rooms, you do so. I mean, some of the guards will see you heading in that direction, but you are not halted on your way to that. And you approach. The door is ajar, and as you enter, go ahead and make a second awareness notice test. Radava, if you're there with him, you are welcome to do so as well.
My intention, and Radava can do whatever he wants. My intention was to go ahead and wake Radava up for his watch.
And then to go here by yourself?
And then go, well, I don't have to be by myself. I just don't want him to be off task. Like, if he can be on task and be there with me.
Yeah, Radava would stay by the door.
Yeah,
okay.
That's what I was
so it's just you in the rooms. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
This one's a bit better. 12.
12. Okay. Well, that's good because it is dark in here. The
3, 4,
room.
5. It's the same as 3 4s.
The room has been tossed. It is easy to tell that even in the dark of night. There are no candles lit in the room, but even with just the moonlight streaming in through the arrow slit of a window that he has, the Mirish lace and carpeting that you saw adorning these rooms has been, where it hasn't been destroyed, it has been removed, and you remember seeing jewelry boxes. You see wooden boxes kind of smashed and lying on the floor. You see the large version of the Mirish lens that was set up next to the window, knocked over with glass smashed around it. The bed itself has been pretty well destroyed. Drawers taken out, clothing kind of thrown all over the ground. What are you looking for anything specific in this room?
I was just gonna see kind of the state of things, and then honestly, if he has like oils or perfumes, I was just gonna check him out. Thought he smelled nice when I met him.
He did, yeah. There do appear to
Smell like this one.
be several bottles, kind of that were on his. I don't know what you call those things. His desk with a giant mirror on it. Vanity. There we go. That should be easy to remember in the future. His vanity. You see where some of the jewelry boxes have been tossed aside and smashed, and looks like they've been pretty well cleaned out of
I'm not trying
any
to take
sort of valuables.
I'm not trying to take anything of monetary value, because that's the last thing I want to do is take money away from a place that I know needs it.
Yeah. You do manage to find a couple of intact vials, and after uncorking, giving them a little sniff test,
a little waft.
And just kind of holding them up and kind of feeling them. They do appear to be scented oils. You sense some of them have like this really earthy kind of a wood kind of scent in there, and then one of them has a much more light citrusy kind of fragrance to it. And then
think about Thali's gonna think about the weather. Sorry, what were you saying?
And I was just gonna say that the third one is kind of a more floral, no less, extravagant oil, but a little bit more of a neutral floral scent, the kind that you'd find at court pretty common.
Yeah, if Thali doesn't think that there's any value to them, like any big value to him, he's just gonna pocket them. He'll take all three of them.
Okay. You can add however you want to list those. Just three bottles of scented oils, and if you want to list what the different scents are, you can do that as well. Yeah, feel free to add that to your inventory.
That's it. I mean, I'm not really looking for anything. Is the Mirish lens broken, like shattered, broken? The lenses on it.
Looking at the essentially the large Mirish, or Far Eyes, the large Far Eyes is what it was.
Yeah.
The lenses to that do appear to have been broken in the exchange. Yes.
Okay. Yep. Then just gonna take a look around, look for anything out of the ordinary, and then head out.
In what you see, the sense that you get is that this room has been tossed, and it was tossed by people who, in addition to taking what they could for the benefit of the house, some of them also probably just pocketed some of it for themselves. So there isn't much left that has any sort of real monetary value left in here. What people didn't understand has largely been destroyed. Anything that they felt, jewelry or money, they took with them.
Thali is
you don't really find any sort of like correspondence or anything like that. All of that kind of stuff would have been taken to the Lord or to Destin for
Yeah,
that kind of
Thali's gonna
investigation.
set the lens back upright. The big far eyes
far
or
eyes,
whatever.
yeah.
He's gonna set it back upright and then walk out.
Okay.
It's kind of
Yeah.
like a shame that like he would have liked to have looked through it, you know, and then seeing that it was shattered, it's just like, all right, just sets it back up, and it's like maybe they'll notice that it's got some kind of value, even if not monetary, and then they'll replace the lenses, and he just kind of walks out, going to
Okay.
bed.
Yeah. All right. Radava, go ahead and make your awareness notice test.
It is time.
Oh,
Yeah, your shit rolls probably better than most people's
12.
best rolls. Yeah.
2 4s and 2 2s.
Mm-hmm. On your hours of watch, you get the most restful part of the night. So there is even less commotion than, kind of the early night, the midnight hours. The end of your shift is when people are starting to get up and make breakfast. So as you proceed through your 4 hours of fairly restful study of the hall, nothing seems super out of place. You get the same kind of sensation that I was explaining to Thali earlier, that the tension in the hall seems to have lightened significantly over the course of the day. There is still, a bit of tension with the events of Lazoros being thrown out and the rooms being torn up, but nothing that you perceive as a threat, nobody approaching the door, and your watch goes relatively uneventfully.
Great. I love that for us.
And then as your watch ends, you go in and wake up Sir Darren, who quickly rouses and resumes his post outside the door. And I will go ahead and make his... Alright, you got a 9. So after you guys sleep for a little while, Sir Darren walks in and wakes you up, Martan, and informs you that the breakfast seems to smell pretty good and that he's pretty tired. So he's gonna try and get the last little bit of sleep he can while you wake up and get things in order. He then goes over to the next several rooms and rouses everyone for the morning meal. And you guys are able to eat your breakfast of some fresh fish and bacon from the harbor before meeting outside to mount up on your palfreys. Each of you is given a boar spear, which is a very long spear with a obviously a sharp point at the end, but right before it reaches the head of the spear, there's a long bar, kind of a crossbar like you would see on a sword at the hilt, but down at the tip. And the purpose of which is that when a boar is charging you, it will hit the tip of that spear and get caught on that crossguard at the very end of the spear, stopping it. Because if there was not that crossguard, the boar would just keep charging down the spear and still gore you. So boar spears are designed a little differently that way. But each of you is given one of those and a palfrey to mount up on, and a hunting bow, quiver of arrows, and you are about to set out on the trip that will take you across through Arlen and over Tide Isle. or the Isle of Arlen, and over to the Otter Wood. We will call it there. I'll go ahead and just wrap things up. Thanks again for watching. We will see you guys next time. Bye.